I saw something today which is it's been bugging me all day. And I want to talk about this because I think it's relevant to this channel. It's relevant to what we talk about. It's relevant to just, I guess, content. And here's a little warning. If I get a little bit colorful with my language, I apologize beforehand. But there are just some things sometimes that need to be said, and this is just one of them. Really, really needs to be said. Because when you have influential people on social media spewing absolute BS, it really gets under my nerves. And I'm going to talk about what's been said and who said it. But I'm also going to make an argument as to why we need to fucking stop listening to people like this guy. We put people like this on a pedestal, and I don't understand why. Psychologically, I get the aspirational side of looking up to somebody, to making sure that you are getting information that you feel is going to help you on your journey, but not at the expense of common sense, critical thinking, and just fucking. I'm really wound up. If you can't tell, I'm really really wound up, and I did a reel on this earlier on Instagram, but I'm concerned on a number of levels. But let me just show you what I'm talking about, because it's just outrageous that we are in 20. Well, this was said in 2022, December 2022. So bearing in mind inflation, recession fears, cost of living crisis, we have people like this freaking idiot on social media just spewing absolute nonsense. And it's absolutely outrageous what has been saying. And so, look, let me just bring this up very quickly. And you tell me, by the way, guys, please do tell me if at any point I am being hyperbolic here, or whether I'm kind of overstepping the gun, or whatever. Please do tell me if you think I'm being completely and utterly irrational in this conversation. But listen to this absolute nonsense. I need to refresh this.
If I made 400 grand a year, I would be embarrassed with myself as a husband, a father, basically as a human being. You guys haven't done the math, because you cannot live on 400 grand a year. And if
you cannot live on 400 grand a year, I would be embarrassed as a husband, as a father. I mean, embarrassed, that is a fucking strong word. Embarrassed because you're not earning $400,000 a year. 400,000. And we're getting to the numbers of what the average wages are and what level of income you need to be earning to be a one percenter. And I'm going to keep it relevant to the UK here. But get what he said. He would be embarrassed as a father and as a husband, right? This is just.
If you think you can live on 400 grand a year, I might have to go back and add number one. Nothing. Anybody can make 400 grand a year. All you got.
Anybody can make £400,000 a year. Well, okay, maybe anybody could, but do people earn £400,000 a year? No, they fucking don't. A lot of people struggle to get to £50,000 a year, let alone £100,000 a year. It's very, very, very difficult. And I know he's probably doing this to be hyperbolic, to be clickbaity, but he's actually at a conference talking to people, saying this stuff. And I'll get into the crux of why I'm so concerned and why I'm a little wound up by this kind of video, because typically speaking, I generally don't care. I generally don't pay attention to this stuff. But there is a good reason. But let's continue.
You got to do is show up. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. You guys don't need to agree with me. I've already been paid my fee. I am not here to satisfy you. I don't care if you like me or not, man. I want to move a handful of.
This is where he's so arrogant. Arrogance is where this lands him, because he doesn't care about who's in the room. He's been paid his fee. So he doesn't care if he's rubbing people up the wrong way. He is so self-absorbed into his own reality that he's forgotten what it's like for ordinary people, right? To the point to have the audacity to stand up and say anybody can make £400,000, $400,000. You can't live on $400,000 a year. It's outrageous.
People in the room to go from 400 grand a year to start thinking about, how do I make 4 million? Big boy right over here. What'd you make last year? 2.7. How does anybody live on $2.7 million a year? My plane eats $2.7 million a year. This dude needs.
Seriously?
He needs to think different. He's running out of time, man.
Dude who earns $2.7 million a year needs to think different. What are we? What world are we living in right now? What, like, seriously? I mean, this is social media. He's at an event. He's talking.
You guys all in a room, man. You're running out of time. You're in a space that is so frothy with opportunity. It's unbelievable. If I made 400 grand.
Okay, listen. Let me get into the crux of why this basically concerns me. Okay, because this is concerning on a number of levels. Grant Cardone is one of those people who's been around for a very, very long time. He's just there, and people pay attention to him. He has the ear of people on social media. And while this concerns me, it's not because it's completely and utterly unrealistic. No, it's not that at all. It concerns me because the people who are going to be paying attention to him are going to be young, impressionable men. Teenagers, kids in their 20s, late 20s, coming into their 30s, who are now seeing this kind of stuff on social media. And rightly or wrongly, you can argue, well, they should have better sense, Pete. They should be able to like disdain or discern that he's talking absolute nonsense. But the reality is there is so much of this nonsense all over social media that this is what they think they should be doing. And let me just show you very, very quickly what the median wage in the UK is, just to bring this into context, because this is really, really important, right? So let's start to have a look at this chart right here. Okay, so this is from Statista, right? This is the UK. So for you to be in the top 10%, £54,180 a year puts you in the top 10%. And you can see the scale. Now look at this. To be in the top 1%, £133,000 a year is what you need to earn to be in the top 1%. What this douchebag is talking about is being in the top 0.01% of the population, with this expectation that you cannot live on less than £400,000 a year. People who make it here may feel squeezed. They may feel like, oh crap, especially in a cost of living crisis, in a recession, my money isn't going further enough. That's in the top 10%. Now imagine if you are down in the average wage in the UK, which is around about £32,000. That's the average wage in the UK. And this douchebag is on social media talking about earning, 15 times more than that, almost. It is absolutely nuts. And this is the stuff that is all over social media that we are exposing kids to. This is, it beggars belief. It really, really does. And this is the one bit that I don't like about YouTube. I don't like about TikTok. I don't like about Instagram. Is people having a platform to spout this kind of shit, basically. It really, really winds me up. And the mental health impacts, the impact on people's mental health. There is already enough pressure on young men to get on the property ladder, to find a decent freaking job, let alone being in a position where, oh, now the new standard is £400,000 because this fucking arsehole says so. And sorry about the language, guys, but I'm really, really wound up. And this is something that this year I want to talk more about, because back when I was broke, when I was really, really like struggling with debt, I didn't know it then, but I had a lot of mental health issues, anxiety, depression. And back then, there wasn't social media. I can only imagine what it must be like if you're in debt or you're homeless or you're struggling to make ends meet. Now to be seeing this kind of stuff on social media, the Rolexes, the Lamborghinis, the guys going on holidays to Dubai, all this fake fugazi bullshit, right? I can only imagine how much of an impact that must have on the mental health of young men and women, with this kind of nonsense being spewed out there. Now, you can argue that there is maybe a little bit of a balance in the fact that social media allows people to earn more money, and there should be no reason why you can't earn £400,000 a year. But Jesus fucking Christ, don't be arrogant with it. And this is where it really freaking winds me up. And so this is a rant which I don't normally go on this channel, but I wanted to say this to basically try and put a clear message out there. Don't listen to fucking idiots like Grant Cardone. Yes, he's a billionaire. There was a video that he made that I saw the other week. He's talking about, if I make 10 million, 5 million goes towards taxes. Well, great, you're given a tax lesson, Grant, but you have tax management and tax mitigation instruments that an ordinary person will not have access to. Then he goes, well, that 5 million is now earned income. So I'm not going to spend any of this earned income. I'm going to buy assets to give me an income. Not everybody is in this space. And this is why, this is almost a shameless plug. And I feel really, really bad about doing it, but it's relevant because I do actually talk about this in my book. I talk about the fact that we should not be paying attention to people like him in the 1% because they are completely devoid of what the reality looks like for ordinary people who just want to build from zero to some semblance of financial security. And financial security doesn't mean you need to have 10 million, 20 million, 50 million. It doesn't mean you've got to be earning £400,000 a year. You can have good financial security if you put the basics in place, earning £30,000, £40,000 a year. We need to stop with all of this nonsense rhetoric that you've got to be earning six figures to be financially secure. Yes, the more money you earn allows you wider options. You'll be able to live a better quality of life, but it is not the end all of be all. If you go and have a look at the story of the janitor in America, right? There's this famous story about the janitor who actually retired a millionaire. Why? How did he do that? Because he had the basics in place. And it's such a shame that we live in a society where we don't encourage or speak about the basic fundamental things that we need to understand about money, yet we have all of these lofty ideas about how much money we need to earn to be financially secure. We have all of these false interpretations of what wealth means and financial security means, yet we can't even budget 100 quid. How freaking mad is that? How stupid is that? Let's really think about it here. And so my channel, and I'm very, very proud of this, I am very, very focused on the basics, focused on the non-hyperbole around money and investing. And that will always be me because I don't buy into any of this fucking bullshit that people talk about. You've got to be doing this and be doing that. You decide what you need to do. Not listening to someone like Grant Cardone. I just wish that the people who do watch this stuff, who do become impressioned by this kind of stuff, get to see kind of more of what I talk about here on the channel. Because if you can't budget 100 quid, there is no way you're going to budget £10,000. If you cannot understand how you manage your money, having virtually nothing, it's not going to change when you start earning money. I know a lot of people who earn £120,000 a year broke because they've got a fuckload of debt and they don't know how to manage it. And I was that person for a very, very long time. It's all about the basics of having that in place and not paying attention to fucking idiots like Grant Cardone spewing this kind of nonsense. I apologize for the language. I really, really do. But at the same time, I don't apologize because it's outrageous. It is absolutely outrageous that someone would say something like this. And I think he's tried to pivot and say, I was trying to be inspirational. I wanted to give people a kick up the bum. Please. You're so lost in your own reality that you've lost sight of what it's actually like for ordinary people. And this is the one thing that I guess I still don't understand. For someone who's supposedly a billionaire, why are you on social media doing the things that you do? Why? Because he needs the funds of other people to go into his investment fund, which props up his investment business. So who's the patsy here? He's certainly not the patsy. The people that listen to him, the people that give him money are the patsies. You are the patsy if you're paying attention to this kind of stuff and you're not using your critical thought. And this, the other thing, and I'm going to end on this, is I know a lot of influencers who are so keen to be around, and literally, I don't follow anybody who follows him. Anybody who's on this, oh, Grant Cardone is great, blah 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 blah. I'm not on any of that stuff. I'm not on. I don't follow anybody. I literally, that's my litmus test. If someone, especially in the property space, starts talking about Grant Cardone and I follow them, they're gone. And it's surprising because a lot of these influencers out here at the moment would love to have him on their platforms. Why? Because of clout, because of the fact that he's got a massive following. And you should be very, very careful, very, very careful of those kind of people. And I'm going to end on that because I've already used enough bad language, but I'm really, really fucking wound up seeing this kind of stuff. And I've seen this stuff for the past 2 years and I've not really said anything about it. But this year, I'm going to call this stuff out because it's a whole load of baloney. And we just need to wake up, smell the coffee, and just be content and have our head focused on what it is that we want to achieve. What he figures out to be an acceptable amount to live on is, frankly, fucking stupid. It's stratospheric. It's just nonsense. So please don't listen to any of that. But anyway, that's where I'm going to end it. Shameless plug again. Look, my book is going to be out March 16th, but you can pre-order on Amazon. There'll be a link in the description to this. I'd love you to pick up the audio book or the physical book or the ebook or whatever. But thank you guys. I'll catch you later on.